Hi guys and gals, Froggy here. Still fighting a leak on this water tank. And I think I've finally figured it out what it is. So I'm going to give you a quick recap on how to do it. Attach a hose to the drain valve. Alright. You're going to open up your drain valve. I think you can hear that. All right. Sorry about the ladder. Shut off your water. Actually, you could do that in the opposite. Shut the water off first and then open the valve. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but you save a quart of water. Here's where I think the leak is. This little stub screws into the tank. All right, see how this one is nice and, come on, focus. Focus. See, that one's nice, and that one's got some rust on it. So, I'm not going to shut the pilot off because this job is not going to take long. Got these two stubs here. I hope they're the right size. I've got one that's 2.5 inches and one that's 3 inches. It's called a nipple pipe fitting, 3/4 inch on this particular tank. NPT, that's National Pipe Thread on both ends. Okay? That's not going to leak much because it's only got from there to there. It's only got a couple of feet of supply line. And the water is all down that way. I'm going to shut off that drain just to save some water. Well, it took me a while to find it, but this is a Stilson wrench. That's probably a brand name, or call it a pipe wrench. It has a special action on it, special jaws, so that when you put the pipe in there, it tightens up on the pipe. It doesn't need flats like a nut or a bolt. It just works on something round. So I'm going to use that to get the stub out. Alrighty, so come to find out, these are wrong. There's a special nipple that you have to order. It has a valve in there, and it might have a dielectric component to it also. So anyway, these are going back, and I'm ordering the right ones, and this will be continued in a couple of days. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, let's get back on this water heater, the leaky nipple. I think, well, let me rewind. I ordered 2 different kinds. This was like $7 or $8. This was twice the price. And the cheap one looks to be the better quality one. I'll put a link, Eastman. Okay, this one seems to be generic. It says it's distributed by Rheem, and Rheem is a well-known name in plumbing. However, this just didn't look like good quality, especially inside where there's a flapper valve. I'll show you the valve. It's a little hard to see, but it's down in there. It's black. And the rubber and the thickness of this valve in here looks better than the one in there. I'm not going to bother taking it apart. That's to prevent the water from back feeding. Supposedly it helps keep the temperature of your hot water from bleeding away, but who knows. Also, this is supposed to be a plastic insulation so that two different dissimilar types of metals don't contact each other. So I'm not sure. I am not really that informed of a scientist to know about dissimilar types of metals, but I know it's a true thing. And I think ultimately what was leaking on the one that I had was some kind of a leak or crack or something in this plastic part, because I tightened as much as I could, and there was a good rubber gasket in there, and it did clamp right down against this piece of plastic here. But if this plastic is somehow cracked somehow or another, then no matter how tight you put that seal down on there, you know, if there's a crack there, it's still going to leak a little bit. Anyway, that's what I think happened. And I showed you those other brass ones that I got. I bet that probably would have worked because it was the right size and everything. It just didn't have this little plastic flapper insert thing in it. So anyway, I got this. I think this will work too. Okay, so you've seen me do this a few times before. There's the overflow there. Put a hose out to the street. Shut that off. Shut that off where the yellow valve is. There should not be a lot of dribble. There shouldn't be. This is full of water. Gravity holding it all down. There's no pressure, so it's not going out that way. Now this is going to be the hard part, is to get that off because it's probably quite rusted in there. I've got a pipe wrench. This is a special wrench. Probably not going to have much luck with vice grips. You might, or channel locks, but this is a real pipe wrench, and I've got an extension to put on it too. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to need two hands for this. By the way, I did put some PB Blaster, which is a good penetrating lubricant. For this purpose, better than WD-40 or some of the other ones. PB Blaster, pretty good. I'll put a link to it. So I did that and let it soak a couple of days. The Greek philosopher Archimedes said, and I'm paraphrasing, "Give me a long enough lever and a fulcrum on which to put it, and I shall move the world." Well, we don't have a fulcrum here, but we do have an extension. Went out to that far, and without hammering, I was able to turn this. So now I'm going to, you've been advised, you're going to have a lot of leverage to break that loose. I saw one guy do it with a hammer on a pipe wrench, and you can do that also, I guess, but I think this way is more correct. Okay, after a while I switched to channel locks because the Stilson wrench tends to loosen up very easily, and I couldn't get a full swing on it, so the channel locks are just easier to use once it's loose. And here's what I got out. This apparently is original equipment, Whirlpool. That would be cold water in, right? Hold on, let me look. Yeah, the red indicates the hot water on that side, so that's the cold water in. And for some reason they want it to fill up from the middle. In other words, you know, this is in there like that. And I really don't think that matters. If you think it matters, put something down in the comments. But I'm not going to try and reuse this. My finger's wiggling because I think I might just be asking for more leaks. So I'm just going to reuse that there. I wonder if that had a valve in it. Let's take a look with my flashlight. I don't think so. I'm going to put a little stick in there and see if I can feel anything with a stick. No, that doesn't have any valve in it. So anyway, you want to go buy one of these from Whirlpool, you can go ahead. And if for you guys or gals thinking this is an anoid rod, this is not an anoid rod because it's plastic and it shows no sign of electrolysis. So the anoid rod is another part of the water heater, okay? Well, let's get some pipe dope. We're going to put some pipe dope on pipe threads. That's what you're supposed to do. And then put that new one in and test it for leaks. Okay, this is very old stuff. So I stirred it up good. It's not dried up. So I think whatever this is made out of, it doesn't really dry up too bad. But make sure you stir it up and make sure you use thread. It's got to say sealing compound, sealing paste. Okay, don't use grease or anything like that. Okay, I'll show you how this goes on. Okay, you see how completely covered that is? Every thread. Now actually when I screw it in, it's probably not going to go all the way to the end threads where my finger is. But you want every little thread groove covered because we're talking about water. Water will find its way if you miss a spot. So this is not like putting a dab of oil or a dab of grease on some threads and then it'll work itself in as you go all the way around. This is sealing compound on a pipe thread. So every little bit of it. Okay, do that. By the way, this faces up. Okay, they don't really put an arrow on it. They should have, but the valve is kind of in the middle of the whole thing. But the part with a color or a fancy little bridge piece or whatever looks like a little funny and different, that's the part that goes up, and the other part goes down. Okay, I had a hard time getting it started, so I took it out and I compared the threads to make sure they were the correct right threads, and they are. I saw a really tiny burr, a defect in the metal thread on the other end that was trying to screw down in there. Plus, this has to go past a bunch of insulation that's right underneath this top here. And the insulation kind of wipes the thread sealing compound, but I think there's still enough left on there to seal. So what I ended up doing was carefully threading this in, putting down pressure on this. Sorry, focus went away a little bit. Putting down pressure on this and turning with the channel locks. Down and turn, down and turn, down and turn. Really easy so you don't cross thread it. And then eventually I felt like it was engaged, and then I took it a few more turns, and now I'm confident that the threads are good. And I'm going to switch over to the pipe wrench and tighten it up a little more. Okay, that's as much as I'm going to go. I put this one extension on there, and I am on a ladder, so I'm not able to put my full body weight behind it, but I've got that as tight as I want to go. Once pipe threads tighten up, there's, you can't really go anymore. And cross your fingers that it doesn't leak. Okay, next this goes back on. Make sure you get your gasket in there. Yeah, I can feel it with my fingernail. It's black, but I can feel it with my fingernail. Now this fitting, it's not the threads that seal it, okay? It's this gasket against this metal part, the gasket, and then up against this plastic part. So, and that's where I think the leak was last time. So this is the new nipple with the new plastic part. Okay, let's get that on there. Well, I just discovered something, and I took this back off, and this blue valve popped off. So now you can see what that rubber flapper valve actually looks like. See it? Okay. And the reason I took that off was I forgot my little blue collar, which doesn't really do anything. It just indicates the blue side. I'm not going to push it all the way down because I want to look there for a leak after I get it all connected. I'll end up pushing it down anyway by accident. Remember, don't over tighten this one because you're just compressing a rubber poly, whatever they make it out of, washer in there. So, I mean, this you could keep going and going and going on, but you're not making the seal any better, and you could be crushing that washer. So just be careful on that one. This one a little bit tighter down here. Okay, so that's it. You turn the water back on and check for leaks, and then let it sit a while and check again for leaks. Okay, let's turn it back on. I already shut off my drain down there, so I really only have to turn this on. Right away we can see if there's any leaks. I've got at least, I want to say, 70 psi water pressure, give or take. It's pretty good pressure. And do not see any bubbles there. That side was already okay. I replaced these supply lines in a different video. Please check it out if you want to look at that other video. So I'm going to pry that up so I can look underneath there. Oh shoot, I do see a drip. Son of a bee. It's right there, so I am going to tighten that up a little bit more. Hold on. I'm going to tighten that until it's not dripping anymore. Hold on. I need two hands. You know, I think the whole issue is the construction of the plastic flapper valve sitting against the plastic insert, and that's all inside of a metal pipe. So I just think there's too many unsealed or ungasketed, if that's a word, connections in there. Because you've only got one gasket, but you've got these splits where water can get through. So I don't think it's a question of how much I tightened it. I think it's the construction of that is shitty. So I'm going to order another set of these nipples, and now I know how to do it. It's not that big a job. I'll just put another one in there. That's what I think it is. So stay tuned. There'll be more to this. Here, I'll show you what I mean on this other valve. It's a little hard to explain, but so this fills with water, right? And the water can come in between these two pieces of plastic, right? And it can come out here, right? And dribble down here, right? And the black gasket is sealing this to this, but it's not sealing the other side where the water can come out in between these two. So I think this is really just a crap design, and this one is different, And that might work, but I didn't like the valve on this one. So I might try a third one. Okay, I'm getting sick of this job, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this apart and take out that little flapper thing and put it back together and see if it seals that way. That way there'll still be that, what I call a defect in the design, but it'll be at least just one instead of two. So I'm going to try that. It'll only take me about 5 minutes. Okay, so it's 100% dry right now. So that completely proves my theory about that little piece of shit that I took out. What dummy engineer would have designed that? Somebody who doesn't do plumbing, obviously. See that? Is dry. So we'll check it tomorrow to see if that part down there, sorry, focus, that part underneath the blue ring is dry, or if that's filled up with a little bit of water. So if that's dry and that's dry, then we're done. So I'm going to wrap this up. Give me a thumbs up or a like if this helps you out. Subscribe to my channel if you want more from Froggy. Ring the bell if you want notification. Be safe, have fun, and if there's any more, I'll put it down in the comments and pin it to the top. And I'll also pin the different parts I used and comments about removing that stupid little flapper. Okay? See ya. Froggy out. Bye.